What's up everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of the KTM 250 rebuild. In the previous episode we replaced all the Swingarm and linkage bearings. I will put the link in the upper right corner in case you want to watch it. So I'm very happy that we can start assembling the bike again. I want to say thanks to everybody that subscribed to the channel already. I really appreciate it. And in case you want to support the channel, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now let's dive right into the content. So it's finally time to build the bike back up again. I have organized some parts that I want to install in this episode. So I checked if everything fits in the frame, and we need to take some powder coat off several areas for the swing arm, for the linkage and for the engine. So first we're going to prepare the frame, and then we're going to place the engine. We're going to place the foot pegs. I got some new original foot pegs. I really like these foot pegs because I basically never slide it off there. We are going to place the linkage as well, and for the engine we first need to place the nuts back into the frame, and after that we're going to assemble the swing arm. We need to place the chain guiders on there and the attachment for the brake line. So before we place the swing arm, we're first going to place the link on there because we have more room to place it, and then we will place this triangle. Let's first start with cleaning up the frame and preparing the frame to put all these parts back in. So just like in the video where I revealed the frame and we did some preparations on the frame as well, we're going to use the Dremel to get the powder coat off there. You can watch the video. I will put a link in the upper right corner. So basically we're going to pay attention to the part that is against the frame, and that gives the area that we need to clear off the frame around the hole. So we're going to do that for the linkage, for the swing arm and for the engine. So we're going to put on some goggles and get started. So first we're going to start with the engine mounts. So now we will do the ones of the swing arm. So now we're going to do the one of the linkage. So we're just going to finish them off with sandpaper. So now all the mounting points are nice and clean, so everything should fit in there now. So now we're going to put the nuts for the engine mounts back in. So I will just put them in place and get the bolts in there so the nut stays in place. You almost don't see these nuts, so it's just fine. And the powder coat is pretty hard, so just like that. So now these nuts won't fall out anymore, but that's good. So now we're going to place the engine back in the frame, and we will put some grease on the engine bolts, so the next time we can get them easily out. So we'll place these here. So you need to pay attention to the cables, that it's not going in between the frame and the engine. But other than that, just move it slowly into the frame and try to place these two in between the mounting points. Just place it on the stand or lift, and then fit your hand to the back side of the frame, so then you can get it easily in there and tilt it backwards. That's it. So now we're going to try to put the bolts in there. That's one. And the other one, you only need to lift the back side a little bit, because the other one acts as a hinge now. So let's get a socket 13 and drive these bolts in. And the bottom one, I lift the back side of the engine a little bit so it
can easily move through there. So what I'm going to do is only drive the bolts in there. I'm not tightening them because when we are going to place the swing arm, it's easy to be able to move the engine a little bit back and forth. So when we have the swing arm axle in place, then we can tighten everything at once, and then we should be fine. So now that we have the engine in, we're going to place the linkage, because we have a lot of space for that now. Before we're going to place the linkage and the swing arm, we're going to put a little film of grease on the axles. So we're going to do that with every one of them. Just a little bit. So before we put the nuts on there, we will put some Loctite on there. So we'll clean them on forehand, but if we see some grease on there when we put them through the linkage or the swing arm, we will just clean everything up again and then put some Loctite on there. So let's see if the linkage fits in there. So you can see there's an edge here that will hold the bolt in place. So this one needs to be to this side, and the chain guider is going to fit on here, so it needs to be on the side of the chain. And for this linkage it's the same, so this edge need to be on the left side of the bike, so we need to going to place it in between here like this. So that fits perfectly through. I'll use some cleaner, just like that. So now we're going to put some Loctite on there. A nice drop. Then we can place this one on here. And we're going to tighten it with the ratchet. So you can tighten this quite a lot, and this will not affect it, because there is a pen in this linkage, and the pen that is being clamped down in between the frame. Just going to tighten it nice and well. That's nicely in place. So now we're going to prepare the swing arm, and we're going to reassemble it. We're going to put the chain guiders and the mount for the brake line back. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Loctite on there. And on the other one as well. And then I'm going to finish it with a screwdriver, because it's mounted in aluminium. This is enough. And we got some Loctite on there as well, so that will not come off. So let's put this one back as well with a little bit of Loctite. I cleaned all the bolts on forehand. Same as with the other one. You can also use the KTM tool, it's a bit more easy. But pay attention that you don't put too much force on there. So that's tight enough. So I didn't do this one yet, so you can see there's a little bit of Loctite on there. You can just clean it off with the brush. Put some Loctite on there as well. Not too tight with the KTM tool, you just can put enough force on it. So now we can put the swing arm back in the frame. So what we're going to do, we're going to place the swing arm in between these points of the engine, and we want the axle going in from the right side. And you can check that by the edge that is off there, and in the frame there is an edge as well that will hold the axle in place while you tighten it. So now we're going to place the swing arm back in the frame. We have the axle in an easy reachable spot, so we can push the swing arm in here and then reach for the axle and push it, try to push it through. See if we have it in the right spot. Then shake the axle a little bit, and then it should be able to go through. So now it's in the first part of the swing arm, and now we need to get the engine in the right spot. So most likely we need to lift it a little bit, just like that. And now we can push it even further through. So when you feel that it's not going easy through, just wiggle the part that it needs to go through. So for instance, now we need to push it through the swing arm, and I just shake it a little bit. Now it's in there. Now it's in the right spot. It only needs to go through the frame. So with a plier I will turn it around so it matches the edge in the frame. Then we push it carefully through. Just got a smaller hammer. So just like that, fits in there now, and it's coming through on this side. So now we're going to clean the thread, so all the grease is off there. Just push the cloth in between there and then spin it around. I always like to spin it with the direction of the thread, so it's moving off the axle. That's quite clean now. So now we'll put some Loctite on the nut. And then we're just going to tighten it. Can handle a lot of force, so we'll just tighten it like this. So now that we have tightened the swing arm axle, we can tighten the engine bolts as well. These ones are a lot smaller than the swing arm axles, so just put force on there accordingly and not try to force them. So now that's in there as well. Starting to look like a dirt bike again. So now we're going to put the triangle of the linkage back in there. So it's facing like this to the back of the bike. So first let's do the top one. So just as with the axle of the swing arm, you can see the edge on which the bolt needs to go. So we need to fit it through like this. So now we're going to try to fit it in between there. Just going to grab a wooden block and a hammer so we can move it into place. Almost there. Let's try to push the axle in. Just got an extender. I placed the axle just like it needs to be so we can push it right in. Just like that. Now we can place the second one. So you just can move it into place and then push it through. Just like that. So now we're going to clean off the excess of the grease. So now we can place the nuts on there with some Loctite. This one we're just going to tighten them with the ratchet, and you can just put a lot of force on there. Just like that. That feels really smooth. So now we're going to place the bottom chain guider. Also going to put some Loctite on there. It leans onto the frame. Not too tight. It's a small bolt, so I always use a small ratchet for this. So now we're going to place the foot pegs on there. So as you can see, the foot peg fits through there already, so that's good. The pen as well looks quite nice again. So now we need to have the spring in here. To do that, I will put a screwdriver from the bottom in here so I can push the spring down. And pay attention that you have two different springs, so one for each side, and this hook needs to go on this edge of the foot peg. I will leave the pen in the top so the foot peg stays a little bit in place. First try to push it down a little bit. Just like that. Then place your screwdriver in here. So now when the screwdriver is in here, it's nice in place. Then we can slowly push the pin in here. And when you do this with the hammer, you will slowly push the screwdriver out. Awesome. So now we need to place the washer and I don't know what to call this. So let me know how to call this in the comments. So we need to place this to secure the pen. We'll push it through from the bottom, so I can easily push these down. It's soft material, so you can just do it almost by hand. You can always get some pliers to make it easier. So just push it completely around and that will go nowhere. Let's do the second one. This is how you install your foot peg. So this was it for this episode. In the next episode we will proceed assembling.
We made some nice progress assembling the bike, and in the next episode we will continue with the headset and the suspension. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss this episode. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.